You are a gift. We are glad that you are here, and we want you to know that love is the spirit of all souls. In this moment of our shared journey, may you feel witnessed and honored wherever you are on your journey. And may you remember that whether you are here for the first time or the 1,000th, whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your ability, gender, beliefs, political affiliation, or documentation status, you are welcome here, and you are never alone. Please greet your neighbor with your name and pronouns. We will return to worship with music. Thank you, Bibi. That was Bibi on the organ. I haven't heard the organ in ages. Thank you so much. Good morning, and welcome to all who are with us in the moment and to those who are catching us later on. I am Annie Rahill, and my pronouns are she, her. I will be serving as the worship associate for today's service. Bibi is going to be on the piano with us, and Jane and Ron are going to be leading our hymns. And our guest minister is the Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto. The pronouns are they, them. The Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto is a UU activist, minister, and prolific author and poet. If you are visiting us this morning, we are glad you are here. People of all ages are joyfully welcomed in service. Nursery care is available if that option works best for you. I invite everybody to please complete a neon connection card. This card helps us know how best to stay connected and support you on your life's journey. Our caring team is an extension of the ministry team and is here to support you. You can reach them by writing a note on your connection card and leaving a message, or by email at pastoralcare@allsoulsindy.org. I have just a couple of announcements this morning. December 10th is Bring a Friend Sunday, and we have invitations at the Connection Corner in Harris Hall if you would like to pick up an invitation to give to a friend to come to Bring a Friend Sunday on December 10th. And our Soul Matters theme this month is generosity. Sign up or check in the know to get the packet, or pick up your packet today at the Connection Corner in Harris Hall. As we begin our time together, we acknowledge the land itself and those who have sustained it through the generations. We are upon the unceded land of the Miamia, Kaskaskia, Shawnee, and Kickapoo people, who were pushed from their land and whose children have been stolen for generations. As we strive to be a community of justice, may we continue to find ways to make reparations. The call to worship this morning was written by the Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto. Thanksgiving offers complexity when we consider that at the same time that British colonists were thankful for the harvest, local indigenous tribes met with war and the introduction of European disease. At the same time, as we bring worshipful hearts to consider the complexity, we rest in the words of Black poet Gwendolyn Brooks. We are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. In a spirit of curious learning, of brave investigation, come, let us worship together. The ritual of lighting our chalice reminds us to continually renew our promise to live into our covenant, to put love into action, and to live out the community of love and justice we aim to be. We have a tradition here at All Souls that a child comes up and lights the chalice. So I invited my eldest child to come up and light the chalice this morning. Ben, would you mind coming up and lighting our chalice? Please rise in body or spirit as we say these adapted chalice lighting words from James Villa Blake, the same words we have spoken since 1903. You are invited to share them in the language of your heart. They are printed in our order of service in Spanish and English. If you are with us online, please let us know in the chat where you are lighting your chalice from. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. Thank you. Please remain standing as we sing hymn number 6 in the gray hymnal, Just as Long as I Have Breath.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Please join me in taking a few moments of silence as we each note that which is currently bringing joy or sorrow to our community. Please rise again in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 1015 in the Teal hymnals, I Know I Can.
Though days be dark with storms and burdens weigh my heart, through troubles wait at every turn. I know I can go on. When sorrow heals my soul and burdens make me strong, through troubles wait at every turn. I know I can go on. My sister in my heart, my brother in my song, through troubles wait at every turn. I know I can go on. And though the journey is long, the destination is near. Though troubles wait at every turn, I know I can go on. So
We're learning some new hymns lately. It's what happens when you have a new minister and a new music director. You get to shake things up a bit. I love it. Our reading today is by Joy Harjo. Joy Harjo is a member of the Muskogee Creek Nation of Oklahoma and was appointed Poet Laureate of the United States in 2019. She encourages us to take a long view of both love and the work before us. The world will keep trudging through time without us when we lift from the story contest to fly home. We will be as falling stars to those watching from the edge of grief and heartbreak. Maybe then we will see the design of the two-minded creature and know why half the world fights righteously for greedy masters, and the other half is nailing it all back together through the smoke of cooking fires, lovers' trysts, and endless human industry. Maybe then, beloved rascal, we will find each other again in the timeless weave of breathing. We will sit under the trees in the shadow of earth's sorrows, watch hyenas drink rain, and laugh. We're singing again, but this time it's one we know. So please stand as you are able to sing hymn 1058, Be Ours a Religion, in the Teal Hymnal.
Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere, its temple all space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its rituals words of love.
Our reflection today is by the Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto. And it's on the video.
Question. How did we get here? What does gratitude mean in the face of a lack of equity for people and communities we care about? We don't have to make ourselves feel bad, though coming face to face with the impact of our choices as communities may call us forward to accountability and the process of healing. Today, we must consider that more than one thing is often true at a time. We're often encouraged to practice gratitude, but at the same time, it is important to notice the times, places, and situations in which gratitude is not enough. It is also important to notice that gratitude is not an appropriate substitute for justice. Most of us were raised on the story of Pilgrims and Indians. If you weren't, because you were indigenous or because your teachers did not repeat unexamined stories, this information will not be new to you. I add details here with great respect and care. It is often a repeated story that indigenous person named Squanto acted as a liaison between his people and the English settlers. His real name was probably Tisquantum. Tisquantum did indeed speak English, and he did specifically because he was kidnapped by English explorer Thomas Hunt and trafficked to Spain. It's not a simple story of friendship, but a story that includes suffering that has been whitewashed, and ultimately a story of exploitation. Tisquantum was freed from slavery by some monks who paid a ransom for captives so that they could educate and evangelize them. In 1617, Tisquantum traveled to England, and then in 1619, back to his village in North America, only to find that the entire Patuxet tribe had been wiped out by an epidemic illness. Tisquantum went to live with the Wampanoags. One of the refrains of Once in a Lifetime asks us to reflect on the circumstances we find ourselves in. And you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile, and you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife, and you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? When the Mayflower arrived in Cape Cod in 1820, Tisquantum negotiated peaceful relations between the Pilgrims and the local indigenous Pokanoket people. He lived with the Pilgrim colonizers for 20 months and taught them things like the fur trade and how to grow native crops after most of the seeds they brought from England failed. The crop failure led to food shortages. Tisquantum helped with food shortages as well, because he taught the colonizers about trading and piloted the ship around Cape Cod. On that trading trip, Tisquantum contracted a fever illness and died. When we look back on Tisquantum's life, the way his story is told teaches us something important. But we have to be brave enough to examine and to learn. In Once in a Lifetime, David Byrne continues by saying, and you may ask yourself, how do I work this? And you may ask yourself, where is my large automobile? And you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful house. It is tempting to hear the story of Tisquantum without feeling and affirming the deep losses and griefs that he endured. To say something like, all's well that ends well, that everything happens for a reason. Let's pause. If it works for you to think that everything happens for a reason, I am not suggesting that you must change your mind. The power that each of us holds to make meaning of the things that happen to and with us is an important skill for resilience, healing, and self and community determination. At the same time, it is a skill that we should probably apply to the stories we know best and have known longest, our own. When we learn the stories of others, it is for them to make the meaning and healing that is possible. That is, it is possible to say that the impact of the project of establishing the British colonies in North America cost Tisquantum everything, over and over. He lost his freedom, his family, his tribe, and ultimately his life, even as he showed wisdom and compassion to the colonists. One response to that could be gratitude. Yes. Perhaps honor. When Tisquantum became ill on the trading trip, Governor William Bradford stayed with him for several days until he died, calling his death a great loss. If we carefully avoid making meaning from the suffering of others, though, gratitude might not be our best initial option. Mia Henry, CEO of Freedom Lifted, a justice and equity education firm, offers that it goes without saying that we shouldn't thank people when we don't mean it. It is also important to make sure that we are not thanking people just because they are furthering our own agendas. For those of us trying to build a more just world, our appreciation for one another comes from a place of recognizing our shared humanity and the fact that we need each other to survive. It is not used performatively or to create wedges in our communities. Showing gratitude is not a substitute for apology. Henry continues to say, buying gifts or making gestures of appreciation is not adequate for addressing conflict or repairing harm. It should not be used as a tactic to avoid or gloss over real issues that need to be addressed. If gratitude is not a substitute for justice, what can our responses be? First, we can be about it. To be about it is probably an Afrocentric expression that we can take a lesson from. Yes, there is talking and there is describing, but it may be more important for us to do something about the things that we care about. More is possible. In the words of South African singer Lyra, if you don't like how it is, what are you going to do to change it? Think about it, speak about it, be about it. Let's talk about how to be about it for the sake of the worlds we wish to see and the experiences we want people to have. Instead of apologize, we can organize. A concerted effort by people who care, you know that can carry surprising power. We can be more gentle with one another and harder on the systems that create haves, have-nots, and as Boots Riley says, the don't-gets. This isn't to say that apologies don't have their place, but let's think on it. For example, in 1918, Reverend William Henry Gray Carter founded the Unitarian Church in Cincinnati, Ohio. But Reverend Carter was black, and the church and support organization he founded were by and for black Unitarians. The majority white Unitarian movement declined to support Carter's work. The church and organization declined and fell away after that. In 1998, Reverend Sharon Dittmar and the North Shore Fellowship of Cincinnati dug into the history of the failure to support Reverend Carter and his communities. The church decided to apologize and invited over 100 members of the Carter family, but were unsure if any Carters would attend to accept the apology. Starita Smith, W.H.G. Carter's great-granddaughter, did attend, and she accepted the apology with this consideration. In recent years, there have been waves of apologies to black people for everything from slavery to neglect of Africa. The reaction among many blacks to apologies from groups like the Southern Baptists, a denomination founded on the support of slavery, has been mixed. We read the headlines and we say, so what changes now? Smith continued, it is very meaningful to me that you took the initiative to acknowledge a history that must be embarrassing, and to attempt to make amends in the present for what was wrong in the past. But we must also acknowledge that racial reconciliation, true racial reconciliation, requires commitment. I hope you will reflect on this weekend often and let it galvanize you. I hope that it will cause you to go beyond the comfortable friendships you have with your Black Unitarian friends to attempt to bring honesty, light, and compassion into the thorny arena of race relations beyond the boundaries of your church. Sounds good. How do we go beyond? Let's talk about 4 specific ways to build that new and next world offered to us by Janice Gassam Asari, a strategist for diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is important, as we consider possible actions, that you consider yourself a possible actor. Imagine the people you care about affected by unfairness. Imagine that with 30 seconds of bravery and unyielding commitment to your choices, you can make both the things that you love and the things that you don't love better than they are now. Part of what that will take is testing out these ideas, trying them on. If they don't end up working, trying others. Let's consider some options. Number 1, speak up. If you notice unfairness, disrespect, or minimizing of unequal treatment, you can speak up. An additional pro tip is that you don't have to know all the answers or even all the questions. You don't have to start a fight. You can trust your judgment and your instincts and make statements about yourself and your observations. These sound like, I'm curious about, I'm uncomfortable about, I'm concerned about. This is one way you can make equality and justice grow in your daily life and in the communities that are important to you. Speak up. Number 2, share out. Each of us has resources and care that can strengthen our communities and create fairness and justice for others. For example, Asari relates that 85% of open positions are filled through networking. Sharing our networks with others can be an instrumental mechanism for deconstructing oppressive systems. Share out. Number 3, turn up. Amplifying messages and stories of people who are likely to experience unfairness helps create understanding and empathy, as well as showing openings for action for people who are interested in making a difference through their choices. YouTube is one place to hear people's stories directly, for example. Podcasts can also offer first-person information and impact. A second way to amplify is to lift up and reinforce messages that might otherwise be sidelined. For instance, women speaking in meetings, even in meetings in our beautiful progressive congregations, may be overlooked or spoken over. If someone makes a point that is ignored, you can amplify by repeating it. Since men are vested with presumed power under patriarchy, it can be especially effective for men to repeat women's words with credit, or to turn the conversation back over to them. That could sound like, I would love to hear more from Stephanie about her idea. Turn up. Number 4, show up. Practical support is essential. You know you can give money to create fairness and justice, but you can also give time, specific expertise, or even mentorship to build skill and practice for people who are often offered fewer opportunities or less support by default. Purdue University in West Lafayette, Indiana, is one of the original land-grant universities, founded right after the Morrill Act of 1862. Purdue is also one of the universities for which the greatest amount of land was seized from indigenous people. If you are a possible actor, One of the things you can do is educate yourself on what practical support looks like for going beyond apology to making amends for the taking of land. How can Purdue and its supporters play a role in shifting from land grant to land back? This is a question worthy of your powers of learning, organizing, and action. Speak up, turn up, share out, show up. Mia Henry encourages us that working for liberation through a social justice lens means divorcing ourselves from oppression, understand power as abundant, and strive for a world where everyone, regardless of identity or circumstance, is affirmed for who they are and has access to the resources they need. In Once in a Lifetime, David Byrne goes on to say, you may ask yourself, what is that beautiful house? You may ask yourself, where does that highway go to? You may ask yourself, am I right? Am I wrong? And you may say to yourself, my God, what have I done? With lots of questions, we have lots of questions indicating our way forward to worlds of justice and peace. Part of the way forward can include apologies, and more is possible. We can confront systems of oppression with small actions that accumulate to larger ways of freedom. We owe the past consideration. We owe the people of the past reflection and accountability. While sometimes the word accountability can sound like the equivalent of punishment, the truth is something different from that. Accountability is an accurate reflection, meaning that it includes both gifts and accomplishments, both mistakes and harms. What does accountability mean? It's more of a conversation and less of a trap. Less of a barrier and more of an on-ramp to a larger question. How are we doing right now? There's also an invitation in accountability. It is crucial in covenant practice like ours that an invitation have room for both yes and no. You can always say, I decline to discuss how I'm doing right now. That complication is that it's not without consequence to do so, but not because someone else says so, more because you are inextricably interconnected with the people in this community with whom you practice covenant. Accountability functions as one of our roots, as connecting as sweetgrass. Sweetgrass is an important plant in indigenous culture. Robin Wall Kimmerer explains that it is also a healing plant, and the way it heals is so interesting. Ecologically, it is a healer of broken, open land. It is a pioneer species that comes and binds up the soil with its rhizomes, but is also a cultural healer, a spiritual healing plant as well. When Linnaeus named the plant, he called it Hierochloi odorata, which means the sacred, fragrant, holy grass. So oftentimes our scientific names are kind of empty and mechanical, but he really got it right. We can also grow this way, growing together, healing what has been broken open, accounting for resources and possibilities. In the last few lines of Once in a Lifetime, David Byrne says, letting the days go by. Once in a lifetime, let the water hold me down. Letting the days go by, water flowing underground. There is life beneath and between and around all of us that holds us together, that calls us forward, that asks us to ask questions. So may we live.
Thank you, Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto. Each week, we gather together to align our giving with our values. We give to support the missions and ministries of our congregation and share half of our weekly offering with an organization whose values align with ours. This week, we are donating to the Kickapoo tribe, one of the tribes whose unceded land we are upon. To contribute, you can give cash or a check into the collection plate, or if online, you can go to allsoulsindy.org, where you will find a link that says, Give to All Souls here on the left-hand side. It's beneath the description for today's service. Please indicate if your gift is a pledge payment or if it is for Share the Plate if you're paying online or using a check. Thank you for your generosity in supporting the mission of All Souls and for your continued love for one another and for this world. Take this moment to make your gift. The morning offering may now be given and gratefully received. Thank you, Bibi. Our closing words are by the Reverend Julian Jamaica Soto. Now, friends, go from this place, connected to others who care as much as you do about justice and peace, about what is present and what is possible. Equip one another with support and with the reflection that you are each and all beloved, and each and all belong. Until you return to the shelter of this community again, go in peace, practice love, return in joy. Amen. So for our last hymn, we are going to sing hymn number 1014 in our Teal hymnal. We do know it. It is called Answering the Call of Love. In your hymnal, it is Standing on the Side of Love. And we are going to substitute the word standing on the side of with answering the call of to be inclusive to those with disabilities.
The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide, and so every soul is blessed to made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. Sometimes